Welcome back to Politics Tonight. Today we're joined by a distinguished figure in Nigerian politics, a man whose career spans decades of service, engineering, public policy and national leadership. He's a former deputy governor of Osun State, a two-term senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and more recently he served as the National Secretary of the All Progressives Congress APC. Known for his influence in both state and national affairs and never one to shy away from tough questions. We're pleased to have with us Senator Iyiola Omisore. Senator, good evening to you. Thank you very much for joining us on Politics Tonight. Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening to you, sir. So
how are you today?
I'm very fine, thank you. Thanks for joining us. So yesterday you were speaking with a group of women leaders, special advisors, special assistants from the three senatorial districts of the state. You mentioned that you would rescue the entire Osun state from a state of stagnation, poverty, nepotism, and hypocrisy. You've given the mandate to pilot the affairs of the state in 2026. So I'd like us to start off with some self-assessment. Over 32 years in active politics, would you personally consider yourself a strong contender for the APC tickets? Do you still have what it takes and potentially for the governorship itself?
Well, thank you very much for this evening talk. Today, without sounding immodest, with my foray in politics the last 2 years and my constant touch with the grassroots across the state, I stand to be corrected. Actually, I'm the only politician alive that has cult followership across the state today. You know what I mean by cult followership? People that believe in me across the board, no stratum or stratum of society. Politicians, partisans, civil servants, professionals, stakeholders, elders, and indigenous. So I have no choice than to be in that stable. And even for those qualities too, I won't be persuaded to come out to contest. I have no intention of contesting elections at all. You know, I was on channels about 6 weeks ago or 2 months ago, and I said I wasn't contesting the election. But the pressure was so much on me from the stakeholders, the original indigenous of Osun State. So I had to accede to their pressure to rescue the state from the shackles of misgovernance, its direction, and misplaced priorities of the present PDP government in the states.
Right. I mean, even as a politician, you hold this very impressive academic and professional credentials, engineering degrees. You have a PhD in infrastructure, finance, and leadership experience across Nigeria and the UK. But how does that technical expertise translate into your leadership approach and priorities as an aspirant?
Thank you very much. One, you know, I'm not an engineer, I'm a teacher. I'm in charge of the residency engineering program for Nigerian engineers all over the world. You may not even know this. All engineering graduates, they have a 1-year residency program for them to become engineers. Because we signed Washington Accord, International Accord, to allow Nigerian engineers to work anywhere in the world. I'm in charge of all the engineers across the board. For the training, AUC, licensing, MBTE, foreign, all sorts of professional bodies. So my engineering is my first love. And that's why I made my name. But because politics seems to be a jealous job, a public job, people tend to miss and confuse this thing. My main stay has been engineering in the last 40 years. And if you look at my profile, I've handled very, very significant projects across the nation. So basically, you're looking at the engineering profile of that state. So with my background as an engineer, as a project manager, as a financier, I'm more stable. And you know, I did my practicum in the World Bank Training Institute in Washington, D.C. too. So I'm exposed to both international funding, local funding, financial priorities, administration policy I'm making. And the glory of God today, I passed through all forms of governance structures. I was the deputy governor in the state, I was a senator, and I was the national secretary. That is the condiment of leadership in a political party. The first one is executive, second one is legislature, the one is party structure. So to the glory of God, I'm being prepared, just as if I'm being preserved for this time. And I was even convinced that maybe God has spared me up to today for the time to rescue my people from the shackles of these people in the state for now.
All right, Senator, this is my first time of having a conversation with you, so I might chip in some personal question, and I'll get into what's your governorship ambition ahead of 2026. And this is one.
No problem.
You were once linked to the assassination of Chief Bola Ige in 2001. Can you speak to how that affected your political career? I know you were acquitted, but do you believe the investigation was handled transparently? Did you ever feel politically targeted during that period?
Well, you know, in politics, when you say you are alleged to any offense, any allegation can be leveled at any time. Alleged, you take it as a debacle, and you must follow the procedure of the trial, which we did for over 2.5 years. And the glory of God, I was charged and acquitted, and I sued Osun State government for malicious prosecution and to prevent it to pay 2 billion naira because my judgment said I have no business in court at all. So that means malicious prosecution, that is contenting, that is fabrication all around the line. So the government, they wrote an apology to me. They withdrew the case in court and accepted the liability. So,
but how do you respond to those who still associate your name with that tragedy?
Well, you know, maybe mischief makers. And I don't give a damn to anybody that says anything. You can say anything, but the point is that first I dare for correction. And when it's first are stated, and you have seen the correctness of these facts, I think it becomes an issue of personal vendetta, personal envy, personal joblessness, and personal no-brainer.
All right. You know, there are those who have described you as a reliable politician with a capacity to deliver victory for your party in 2026. But your critics outside the party are questioning how APC plans to maintain internal cohesion during the primary process. They say you've been here before, former deputy governor, senator, national secretary of the APC, and then you vanished. But for critics within the party, they say as a leader, your long history in Osun politics is both a blessing and a burden. You're well known and experienced, but your tenure as APC National Secretary ended in controversy and your reputation has taken hits within the party. How are you currently being perceived within the Osun APC rank and file?
Well, the point is that what I'm doing now, like you said earlier on, is going to consult across the board of the parties to win confidence with membership of the party or give stakeholders confidence. You know, in any contest, there'll be aspirants, and it goes with so many undertones, so many connotations, so many stories, so many false hopes. But basically, as a matured aspirant, as a technocrat, as an engineer and educator, I believe that I've mapped out my own strategy to ensure that every part of the party leadership, the stakeholders, like what we just said earlier on, the ward chairman, the councillors, government chairman, all the party structure are being carried along to educate them on the mission ahead, because they are the people who are going to work at the polling units. Also, still, we have close to 4,000 polling units. So if you don't involve these people at this level now,
Senator,
you are running a risk.
All right.
I'm with you.
All right, then. Are you saying, or do you think your cult followership is enough to scale you through the toughest phase of this election, which would be the APC primaries?
Well, maybe because you lost in transit. I just told you that I've done consultations across the federal constituencies. You know, in any party, even our constitution, we have senatorial leadership, we have federal constituency leadership, we have government leadership. Because of my experience enough, I don't just jump out to contest election. I went around these interest groups, seeking their concurrence, seeking their advice, asking for whether I should go ahead or not. Having gotten their blessings across the state at that level, the next level I'm doing now, I'm doing internal consultations of the party. because I have to do wider consultations. In every party, there's a structure. And it's just like going for an exam. Going for an exam, you must have a syllabus for you to pass the exam. So everything has a syllabus in going about it. So basically, what I'm doing now is I'm consulting the party structure from the ward to the state, because they are the faces of the party. And that people are going to vote at the primaries, they are going to say much for us at that level. So to my surprise, to my excitement or amazement, when I invited all the ward chairmen, the councillors in the ward, the local government chairmen, the secretaries of the party, they were so excited that for the first time, they have been involved in the process of electioneering and primaries, which led to the endorsement, that my endorsement which was widely spread, widely carried.
So if you have this huge support, why then would you say nobody should underrate your political influence? Do you believe there is an intentional effort by some party members to downplay your political influence?
I didn't say so anywhere. When was that? That
has been credited to you during some of this gathering, like the one you had yesterday. Do you think anyone would have misquoted you?
No, I won't have said that now. But my political influence is larger than unimaginable in the state. So anybody can wonder. Nobody can underrate this. Why does that? That's so apparent. So it's not even contention anyway. It's not discussable. It's an obvious thing on the street, on the road. Everybody knows. So it's not even a dream. So I've not said it anywhere. That's for pedestrian politicians now.
All right.
Big politicians to be saying, not at my level.
And if you also look at how the APC governorship primary in Osun State is shaping up to be a crowded and competitive field, 9 aspirants so far, if not more. Tough guys like yourself, Senator. But given this array of rivals, what unique strengths do you believe set you apart? I'm talking about in terms of experience, influence, and your grassroots footprints.
I said earlier on that, one, that's what they call instant recognition in politics. And that is antecedents. And that is pedigree. And that is relationship. And that is culturalship. All this determines who and who wins the election. And all these parameters are stated. There's no aspirant that you have up to 10 or 50% to my standard. All of this. So it's an obvious thing. It's only that people must just contest. That's it.
And talking about pedigree and integrity, I mean, some of your rivals have never shifted loyalties, Senator. Some of them have always been progressives, but you have moved between several major political parties. From the PDP, you've gone to the SDP, you're now back to the APC. Why do you think you're better than these people? Why do you think you deserve the chance to fly the ticket of the APC?
None of my rivals none of them is qualified for this statement. But they are new in politics. So you can't say their story. You just like somebody in New York who went to hospital of about 40 years old, and they said that in this hospital there are 27 deaths. In that was an hospital of just 1 year, said there are only 2 deaths. That's a better hospital. None of them has gone through the process I've gone through. So it's not comparable. In my history, if you look at my ages too, I never left any party out of violation. I left parties out of condition and coalition and invitation. Look at what happened to me coming to APC. I came to rescue the party. So you can't compare that as changing parties. So it's not the same thing. It's not just jumping from APC to this party. It doesn't work that way. So
but you politicians are very huge on loyalty. And Senator, you've talked about pedigree. I'm also wondering, I mean, given your involvement in multiple controversies, how do you plan to regain or sustain public trust? What steps have you taken to perhaps demonstrate transparency since these events?
There's no time that I went through a process of controversy that didn't come cleaner and saner. So our lives are controversies too. In this life, is our ups and downs. So the basic thing is that any time that arose is always a cleaner and saner position, application. So to me, it's part of life. And I'm happy about it. It teaches you life, and for you to know that it makes you to be stronger. If you're not tested, then you have a problem. When you say tribulation, controversy, there are testings of this world. That may all makes a man. The point is that each time I have issues, I will have stuff of it. Credibly, people apologizing, and regrettably too. So that's, to me, is a credit.
All right, Senator. At this point, let's take a break, and when we come back, we'll expand this conversation. Please stay with us, everyone. This is Politics Tonight. This is Politics Tonight. Thank you so much for staying with us. Tonight, we're speaking with Senator Iyiola Omisore, former Deputy Governor of Osun State, former APC National Secretary. Thank you for staying with us, Senator. I mean, as part of the last question I asked you before we went on our break, do you believe Nigerian politicians are held to sufficient ethical standards?
Well, you know, that's too broad a question to ask. Nigerian politicians are not different from American politicians. They're not different from European politicians. So because Nigeria, we don't appreciate ourselves. So we talk down on our people. And not only politicians, we talk down on Nigerian pilots, Nigerian engineers, Nigerian doctors. So one of us must shift from this background of commitment and loyalty to Nigerians as well. All of us must believe in ourselves. So this statement you said is unfair to Nigerian politicians and very derogatory to that matter.
I'm sure many Nigerians disagree with you, Senator.
Well, that's our problem. Because there are more problems Nigerian businessmen, Nigerian politicians. I work in industry, and I talk to business. I know what businessmen have done in this country. So there are more problems Nigerian businessmen than politicians too. Because you see them as scapegoat because they are there to serve people. You expose them to all these things. There's no politician anywhere in the world. Can you believe what's happening in America today? With the president today? All the draconian laws, everything that you are saying. If Nigerians now, all of you be scattering and complaining everywhere. Nigeria is going to fall, it's going to follow. Can you imagine your wildest imagination for the next 40, 50 years, America can get to this level of very extensive orders, draconian, single position, single take decisions here and there. Nigerians have not gone this level. We are gentlemen. You can't categorize a position as same thing everywhere. At my level now, I'm a politician, I'm a technocrat. There's nobody, no engineer in this country that's better than I do. But I'm up to the task. You don't know, most of us, we're well trained. Go to the best schools in the world. If you don't know, go find out. I do accreditation of Nigerian universities for courses we don't know. We have to find out. We are core professionals as well. All right. Sports is just by the side to help the people and help the masses.
But I'm sure you would agree with me, Senator. But I'm sure you would agree with me, Senator, that in this part of the world, our country, especially, most politicians get away with a lot, which would or may not happen in developed countries, because the issue of accountability is still a challenge here in this part of the world. But quickly, let's move on. Let's talk about zoning. Cult followership, 32 years of active politics. But there's been this debate around zoning for 2026. I'm sure you must have heard this argument, which is that Senator Omisore hails from Osun East, a zone that has previously produced governors. And the argument is that it's not their turn in 2026. Do you consider this a challenge you must overcome?
There's no zone in Osun State who won't produce governor. Maybe you don't have enough knowledge of what happens.
I do. I'm saying some have produced than others. You understand my question, Senator? You understand what I mean?
In fact, Osun State is the least produced in this state. Least produced governor. Information, you know. One, the Central has produced governor 3 times. West twice. Osun only once. Osun only once. So that's the time. So what you are saying is skilled in favor of Osun East. So my strategy is the most qualified for governorship now, as we speak. So that's why I say we don't have knowledge of the correct story of the states. The Osun East only once, Iyiola, Osun Central twice, Osun West twice. And currently, Osun West is the governor running. So, there's a way that people create stories around themselves, but just for you to know better that that's what's happening today. And I'm not even saying that because it's my state tongue. I'm not saying that that's a lazy way to approach governance. The best should come forward from anywhere. That's why I'm saying I want to compete with the best anywhere.
All right.
You want to go by zoning, it is the turn of Osun East now, the post governor. But there's only one slot since Osun State of 1991.
All right.
For information for you to go. So for you to do that fact as well.
All right, and I'm sure your supporters are listening, and whether or not they agree with you is left to them come 2026. But what is APC's biggest criticism of Governor Adeleke's administration heading into 2026? And how do you plan to convince voters to return to APC leadership?
One, as we speak today now, the state lacks direction. The state now, when you get to Osun State today, you see a lot of uncompleted projects. That's a year into the election. A governor that started work almost 3 years ago have more than 98% of projects uncompleted. So how do you explain seriousness in that one? A state that disobeys the law, how do you quantify that as we speak now? A state that does not have a state policy, no agricultural policy too. I was in Cote d'Ivoire, African Development Bank, about 2 weeks ago for a meeting. They are doing SAPZ. Australia was offered SAPZ. They said turned it down for those that up, for lack of knowledge and understanding. If the governor cerebral, you would have appreciated what I'm saying. But Nigerians, journalists, question askers, and the other facts.
It's not fact, Senator. It's an opinion. But please move on.
And that's your opinion as well. All you are saying, your opinion. You know that. Everything you have said today is your opinion. If you don't know, they're not facts. Everything you have said this evening, the last one now, is your opinion. They're not facts. But I see honor and oblige to answer you. So I want to answer. If you ask question, you must answer me as well. I just said some basic thing now of governance. The facilities are in decay. Education teachers. You are employing OES, student holders, as teachers in primary schools. So where do you start from? So I think it's better for you to go and survey this state. You cannot ask me questions that can really contend with the time.
So you referred.
Look at that.
Can you hold on, Senator? You referred to Governor Adeleke as a political orphan, allegedly trying to force his way into the APC. And, your critics say the phrase was divisive, even with party youths condemning it. And one question I would have asked you at that time, which I ended up asking some of your party members who were in support of what you said, was what does the APC consider to be the minimum standard for being a politically rooted leader? And how does Governor Adeleke falls short in your view? Again, when you consider the fact that he still enjoys the support of prominent PDP leaders, how then do you defend the claim that he is politically abandoned? But Senator, you're here tonight, and for the purpose of clarity, why choose that language, and what was your intended message?
Well, one, when you say political orphanage, or you say enjoys leadership of the PDP supporters, we saw PDP leadership saying they want to come to APC, all of them. So when you're leaving your father's house, going to another person's father's house, so are you an owner or
you've been in SDP, you've been in PDP. Politicians change vehicles every now and then. You are comparing orange with apple. I came from SDP to APC on coalition, so it's not the same thing. You can't compare both. But you are a Nigerian. The people that came from the presidency and the president that time, when I was Iran, see the same thing? It's not. So don't compare apple with orange. Compare the likes with the likes. And then is a governor today. So you want to come to another party. We just said, look, Nigerian constitutions allow you freedom of association.
So there's a procedure to come to a party. You resign your party from the ward to local and to state. If you want to come, let you come to that process too. You just the national chairman of APC that time said, all I think I've been doing has been the campaign on pages of newspapers. So how do you correct that? How can you compare that with maybe somebody who came to for a coalition from SB to APC? It's not the same thing. So I want because I want us to really be very pragmatic.
I get you, Senator, and let's stay on that because two things here. For those who say this type of language alienates undecided voters who are more focused on performance than party pedigree. They do not care about party politics. They want performance. And given that many Nigerian voters are tired of godfatherism, is it really a weakness to be a so-called political orphan?
Well, governorism in what sense? I don't know what you are saying because you just jump from
Senator, you don't understand
to governorism.
You don't understand the meaning of godfatherism.
The orphanage I'm talking about is not about governorism. It's the context of the looseness of the party. It's the context of the crisis of the PDP. So it's not about governorism at all. That's not the issue. I want us to separate all these things carefully. So I say when you are trying to ask questions, let us apportion it. I'm an engineer, I'm very technical, and I follow procedure. I believe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, up to 10. I don't jump from 10 to 1,000. No. I'm an engineer, so for God's sake, and that's my training from the age of 21. So I believe that aspect of orphanage has not to do with federalism. Is that the party is a shambles. You can see the crisis of PDP who have gone to ADC. And for me, today they are in different courts here and there. So, federalism, you want to ask a federalism question, ask that one straight away. They will answer you.
I think it's related, Senator, because if you say someone is an orphan, in a layman language, it means the person does not have a father and a mother. So you called him a political orphan, perhaps meaning that it is been isolated. And that was why I asked if what your intended message was. Did you choose a wrong language? That was what I wanted you to explain.
Okay, better. And so, but you mentioned godfatherism too.
It's the same. Godfatherism meaning you have a godfather who directs you politically or who is there for you when you need political advice. So I'm still in line.
Well, that's not you're just giving it. Well, to me, leave a political party that is in crisis. Leaves the members of the party as orphans.
All right.
But the father of the politicians, that party is the party. So maybe I have to analyze this apocalypse for you. The father of anybody is the party. The constitution does not allow you for individual candidature. So today, everybody are children of their political parties.
All right, Senator.
The moment your political
I want
party
to move on to other matters, but quickly, for those who say Governor Adeleke's potential entry into APC is a threat to your own political relevance or governorship ambition, and that's the reason you keep antagonizing him. How do you respond to such statements?
And like you said earlier on, there are different opinions now. That's not opinion. I don't know, how does that affect me? I've asked, look, come to the party, let him come and contest. Let him go to the war. I never say he should not come and join the party. So that's an opinion of other soothsayers who are pro-Adeleke. It does not have anything to do with me. Maybe I have to take you to history. In 2016 or 2015, when Adeleke came out first as a presidential candidate, this I started to be corrected too. You can find out your facts too. I'm from the East Central District. He's from the West. They came to beg me to lead their campaign in the West. It's a fact that you cannot contend. You can fact that is fact. So I cannot look at that as so what you are saying. I don't really give a damn. Because we have levels in politics too. We know ourselves by their pedigree, by their classification, by where we are coming from, and by our credentials. So I'm nobody. I mean, if Adeleke is going to the party, other people will come as well. There are already about 11 aspirants in APC today. Maybe we become the 12 or 13th aspirant. So what has that to do with me? Everybody go to the field now. to go and try. So maybe he was trying to negotiate through the back door and he ran away.
But I don't think, it doesn't look like he's still interested in joining the APC, is he?
Come again?
It doesn't look like he's still interested in joining the APC. So I'm asking, is he still interested? Do you think he's still interested in joining?
I wouldn't know. Maybe you're in a position to ask him and let me know.
Because, you know, you also warned that Governor Adeleke's local council polls were lawless and could rise a breakdown in law and order. How would you address such governance issues differently, especially in upholding the rule of law and democratic norms?
Okay. Do you know the correctness of the story, or you want me to take you through the process?
Senator, you must know that you're not speaking to me. You're speaking to your supporters. You're speaking to your people in Osun State. I'm not the one you're addressing. So please kindly go on, sir.
What happened is that February 17th this year, there was a judgment in the Court of Appeal in Akure. February 10th, this year, there's a judgment in Akure that says that this appeal, no APC appeal against the dissolution of the council. The court now said this appeal has merit and therefore allowed. Simple. When an appeal has merit and was allowed, so it means that you refer to original status quo. Why I said it led to crisis was that immediately that happened, the council chairman tried to resume their work. It's on record today that the first or second day, the PDP talks attacked one of our chairmen in Iyiola local government, and the chairman was killed. That was lawlessness. I think the governor has just allowed the appeal, and the next thing for him, you should have just gone to court of Supreme Court. He wasn't pleased to do a counter appeal against the judgment. That look, this appeal like this, at the Court of Appeal, we are the appellant. So in the Supreme Court, he will not be the appellant. He didn't bother himself to do that because he knows the case has no merit. That's what I mean by lawlessness. And the Attorney General took him to court that all the money he has collected in the last 2.5 years illegally to be refunded. That's the lawlessness.
And there are...
when there was no vacancy in the local government, he went ahead and did the elections for local government chairman, and he said they won and sworn them and said they should go and stay at home. That was lawlessness. The Norgay, they have been on strike for the past 7 months. That is lawlessness as well. So that's what I mean by lawlessness across the board.
And there are multiple court cases currently ongoing regarding the alleged mismanagement of local government funds in Osun State. You know, I would not want us to preempt the outcomes of the cases, but some of these cases have led to allegations of double standards, bias, hypocrisy, and inconsistency against the APC-led federal government. And many believe the federal government's decision to withhold allocations to local councils in Osun contrasts sharply with what happened in Edo State, where despite the sack of these elected local government executives, allocations continue to flow. But for a situation where it is alleged that there is directive, kindly let me land, sir, where there is a directive from the Accountant General of the Federation to process papers and figures to facilitate payments of Osun State local government funds into private or fraudulent accounts, that's the conversation out there. Do you believe these allegations have merit?
One, the executives of Edo State were not sacked. The governor, the APC governor, when he got there, he attempted to sack the chairman. The presidency advised him that you cannot sack the chairman. So those people there, they elected a chairman in Edo State now. So that's what you just said. That's not correct for him. That's number one. Number two, the issue of payment into accounts. That's what they call joint local government accounts under the old regime. Now there's autonomous payments to different accounts from account director's office. The ATF cannot pay to local government accounts where there are workers at the secretariat. The Norgate people now, like I said, one of my a few weeks ago, they absconded. They're being abducted by the PDP government. So who will they pay to in the first instance? So the idea was they are trying to tire them out because they think their tenure will expire in October. I can shoot out go on strike for 7 months and people are not talking. You don't even ask questions about it at all. What law allows someone to go on strike for 7 months? If they have been at work by now, money have been released to them. So they are doing that deliberately to stampede and to disrupt the normalcy of the local government structure. So that's the correctness of the story.
Right.
And I stand to be corrected if you have other information.
And you just said if they're at work now, money would have been paid to them. But critics argue that, I mean, your former deputy governor, and critics argue that under past and present administrations, local governments in Osun have lacked financial autonomy. First, what is your view on that? And in retrospect, Senator, what structural reforms would you advocate to strengthen electoral credibility in Osun State so that we don't continue to have these kinds of issues?
Yeah, what I'm saying, local government, before now, like I said, before the Supreme Court judgment on the autonomy of local governments, that's what they call joint local government accounts that they paid money to, and the governors of the different states use the money at their use for different things. After the Supreme Court judgment, they said they should enjoy autonomy. That means the money should go from the AGF straight to the local government accounts. Now, in the local government structure, there's a chairman, there's head of local government, HLA, there's the director of finance who are seeking to the account. In Osun State's case now, all these operators, they are on strike in the last 8 months now. And and they're being paid through the back door by PDP government. They are encouraging them to continue to be on strike so as to stifle the structure and autonomy of the local government. So this is the thing I'm telling the public to get involved and know the correctness of it. But most people, most people who have got into it, they pretend not to know that aspect of it. There's no how we can pay money to local government without the officials. No government pay money to individual accounts anywhere. Right. But because the PDP believe that they are smart enough, that they want to stifle. They want to ensure that the tenure of these people expires.
I mean, NOGE, MBA, these groups are insisting that must not happen. But we're here to continue to monitor that development. Let's go back to politics. Osun APC chieftains have been on this program, Senator, and I've tried to call Governor Ademola Adeleke on printable names, all pointing to their opinion of how he has governed Osun State below their expectation. And I remember that during your Senate tenure, you chaired key committees and championed some infrastructure initiatives. I looked at the dualization of strategic roads and constructions of multiple purpose dams. Which of these projects would you like to replicate or scale up as governor?
Well, thank you very much. You know, like I told you from my background in engineering, when you want to do project allocation, you look at the population, look at the terrain, look at availability of funds. So that will determine to me what I want to be done. For instance, now, when our dams are like this, to about 47 million cubic meters were produced per day. Now, population has scaled up to how to meet up the number of requirements of those ones too. On the highway roads now, we do what they call traffic count. Traffic count will determine to me which ways I want to scale up. I won't just sit down in my office as a governor. I'll be writing road construction. No. I go by data of construction. I will get their professional advices by scale up anything. That is the difference between a cerebral administrator and a non-fit administrator or a near illiterate one.
Well, and I'm seeing that while APC members say Governor Adeleke has not been working, I mean, there is now Iyiola Wi-Fi, free public internet service aimed at providing residents, students, business and communities access to the internet. And it looks like the civil servants like him. But before I let you go tonight, Senator, how do you want to be remembered particularly by those who have criticized your political path. What lessons have you learned from your most difficult political moments? And if you could go back and change any decision, which one would it be? What message do you have for younger politicians who look up to you?
Well, you know, basically, you know, in life, as I was growing up, and I've grown up to this stage, I know as a matter of psychology and policy and physiology, that life is full of ups and downs. That no matter what happens in life, you must have ups and downs, even businesses too. In business ventures, you face some, you gain some. So life is just bed of roses, where you can just be riding pram. So what happened to me in life, I think I've taken my stride. I'm happy that's happened. They've taught me well. They made me a good man. They have really exposed it to be me what I am today. And in spite of all this one, I still remain the unbeatable, the most educated. I mean, I need to be corrected. The most exposed, the most skilled professional in the context of Osun State today. And I still, I mean, without sounding modest, I start to be corrected too.
Absolutely. And I see that some APC stakeholders are calling for you to be adopted as a consensus candidate. What's your view on that, quickly?
Well, you know, consensus candidates, you know, Electoral Act allows for consensus candidates, but you must go through a process too. It's not like the old time that you just name a candidate and everybody just go to vote. And everybody, I mean, so maybe so that's what I'm doing now. That every stakeholder must know what you are doing, because even when you have a consensus candidate, they still have delegates who is going to adopt you at the state level. So if not, I'll just start in front of my house and watching that. Okay, let them come and adopt their consensus candidate. No, we still go through the process, because involving them now, it means them part and parcel of the process.
All right.
And then we eventually have electioneering on the day of election. That's the beauty of it.
All right, Senator. Great way to end this conversation. That brings us to the end of this conversation with Senator Iyiola Omisore, former Deputy Governor, former Senator, and now a key figure in the unfolding political landscape of Osun State as we look ahead to 2026. And whether you agree with his politics or not, you know, there's no denying his enduring presence and influence in Nigeria's democratic journey. 32 years of active politics. Thank you so much for sticking with us tonight, Senator Omisore. Thank you.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Thank you very much. And thank you very much for watching. That marks the end of today's episode of Politics Tonight. But before we go, let's tell you that the views and reactions of our resource persons are theirs and have no connection with TVC News. Meanwhile, you can watch the repeat broadcast of this episode at 12:30 a.m. Get in touch with us on our social media handles, Facebook, Instagram, and X at TVC News NG and at Olajumoke using the hashtag Politics Tonight. You're also on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News NG. I am Olajumoke Olatunji. Good night, everyone.